In a single moment, I realized my family saw me as a utility, not a member, and everything changed. My name is Ethan. I'm 33 years old. I work in IT, and if there's one thing you should know about me, it's that I used to be the guy who always showed up. Birthdays, holidays, moving days, Sunday dinners, I was there. Quiet, dependable, and never expecting much in return. If someone needed a last-minute airport pickup or a dog sitter for the weekend, I got the call, and I said yes. I didn't mind, really. I grew up in a big, boisterous family where everyone talked over each other and somehow always made space at the table, even when we were packed elbow to elbow. But somewhere along the way, that warmth changed, or maybe it was never there for me, and I was too wrapped up in nostalgia to notice. The shift wasn't sudden. It was death by 1,000 cuts. At first, I brushed off the little things, like when I offered to host a game night and no one showed, or when my sister Lily forgot to tell me that Thanksgiving dinner had been moved to our cousin Sarah's place. I chalked it up to miscommunication. Life gets busy. But after a while, the pattern was impossible to ignore. I'd walk into family gatherings and feel like a guest who'd wandered into the wrong house. Conversations would quiet just a bit when I approached, smiles would flicker a little too late, and there was always that one person who'd say, "Oh, I didn't realize you were coming." That kind of thing sits in your chest like a stone, but I still showed up. That brings me to my Uncle Tom's retirement party. He worked 42 years at the same manufacturing plant, an old-school, blue-collar guy, proud of his calloused hands and beat-up lunchbox. I liked Tom. He was one of the few in the family who never made me feel like an afterthought. So when my Aunt Clara sent out an invite for his party at the local VFW, I made sure to clear my calendar. I even chipped in a few $100 toward the event hall and decorations without being asked. Clara just texted me a few weeks before with, "Hey, we're a little short on the deposit. Mind helping out?" And I said, "Sure. No thanks, no confirmation, just assumed I'd pitch in." And I did. The night of the party, I showed up early to help set up chairs and string the "Congrats Tom" banner. It wasn't glamorous, but it felt good. Tom gave me a real hug when he arrived, none of that one-arm shoulder pat nonsense. For a few hours, it felt like old times, drinks, laughter, awkward dancing, and endless stories about work pranks and forklift mishaps. I was actually smiling, feeling like I belonged again. That was until I made the mistake of being cheerful. I was standing near the snack table, talking with Sarah and Lily, when I casually said, "I'll bring dessert to the family barbecue tomorrow. What time should I get there?" Sarah blinked, confused, then tilted her head. "Oh, you weren't invited." At first, I thought she was joking, but her face didn't change. Lily looked away, suddenly fascinated by the chip bowl. I laughed, still holding on to the hope that this was just some weird joke. "Seriously, what time should I come by?" Sarah gave a little shrug. "I mean, I think it's more of a close family thing, yeah." Lily added, finally glancing at me. "Like, Mom and Dad just wanted to keep it small, you know, just the core people." That one hit different. Core people. Like I was some extended branch barely hanging onto the family tree. Then Aunt Clara walked by, sipping from a red plastic cup, and Sarah said, "Show him the photo." Clara grinned and pulled out her phone. I didn't even ask to see it. She just held it up, scrolling through images of tables set up in someone's backyard, kids running through sprinklers, a huge custom cake that said, "Family Barbecue 2023, and a group shot of everyone I'd grown up with, my parents, Lily's kids, uncles, aunts, even my old babysitter's grandkids somehow made the cut. I wasn't in a single frame. I just nodded, smiled politely, and backed away from the conversation like I just remembered a phone call I had to make. Inside, my chest felt tight, but not in a sad way anymore. It was something sharper, cold, focused. I made a quick stop at the bar for another drink and took a seat near the back, thinking, running through everything. Every ride I'd given, check I'd written, every time I'd made excuses for them. Years I'd been the family's quiet safety net, the extra wallet, the extra hand, the guy who would never rock the boat. And the kicker, that barbecue tomorrow, I knew exactly where it was being held. The rental for that park venue had gone through my account. I'd booked it 3 months ago when Clara said, We just need someone with a clean payment history so it doesn't get flagged. I'd paid the deposit. The email confirmation was in my inbox. They never even bothered to switch it out. That was the moment something in me clicked. I didn't get angry, not outwardly. I didn't storm out or flip a table or demand answers. That would have been satisfying, sure, but too easy for them to paint me as the dramatic one. Instead, I finished my drink, helped pack up the decorations, and told Tom it was great to see him. He said, "Thanks for everything, Ethan, really, you're one of the good ones." I smiled. I appreciate that, Uncle Tom, really do. Then I got in my car, drove home, opened my email, and clicked, cancel reservation. It took less than a minute. One click, and their little, close family barbecue had no tables, no access permit, just an empty patch of grass with no backup plan. I didn't tell anyone, just went to bed and slept like a rock. The next morning, my phone started buzzing. One call, then another, texts, but I didn't check them, not yet, because I already knew the storm was coming. And for once, I wasn't the one left out in the rain. By noon, the calls had turned into voicemails. Aunt Clara's voice was the first, shrill and confused. "Ethan, the park says our reservation doesn't exist. Did you cancel it by mistake? Call me back, please." Then my mom. "Why would you cancel the venue, Ethan? Everyone's already here, they're making us leave." Then Lily, short and irritated. "Real mature. Did you really have to make this about you?" That one made me laugh. About me. They threw a whole event, invited everyone but me, and now I was the one making it about me. I stayed in bed until nearly 2 p.m., not because I was being lazy, but because I didn't want to give them the satisfaction of thinking I was pacing around, anxious, wondering what was happening. I already knew what the park people would say. "No reservation. Sorry, Mom, someone cancelled it yesterday evening." "Yes, we refunded the deposit." "No, you can't set up here without a permit." "Yes, we have another party arriving at 3 p.m. No, I'm not going to argue with you in front of children." When I finally got up, I made myself a sandwich, opened my laptop, and played some lo-fi music. It was oddly peaceful. I knew they'd try to salvage the event somewhere, somehow, but not with park tables, not a covered pavilion, not with the big speakers they were planning to plug in, and definitely not with a bounce house. Around 4 p.m., I finally checked my phone. 43 messages, most from Lily and my mom, some from Sarah, a few from numbers I didn't recognize, probably the plus ones and tag-alongs who now had nowhere to sit and were trying to figure out what was happening. A few messages were just photos. One of a bunch of folding chairs set up on someone's driveway, another of a haphazard grill with 3 people crowding around it while smoke billowed into someone's face. It looked miserable. Then I saw the one message I didn't expect, from Uncle Tom. It just said, "Call me when you can." I hesitated. Tom had always been kind, he didn't deserve to be in the crossfire. But he also hadn't said a word when his wife Clara and daughter Lily started icing me out. He'd been quietly complicit. I didn't know what to expect from that call. I dialed anyway. He answered on the first ring. "Ethan," he said, like a man exhaling after a long day. "I figured you'd call. I saw your message," I said simply. There was a pause. "It was you. The cancellation?" "Yes." I didn't dress it up or deny it. I wasn't ashamed. Another pause, then a sigh. "Well, can't say they didn't deserve it. Still caused a big mess today." "I'm sure it did," I said, not coldly, just honestly. "I didn't mean to ruin your weekend. I like you, Tom. You're one of the few people in that family who's ever treated me like I mattered." He was quiet again, then he said, "You do matter. I just didn't realize how badly they'd been treating you." I didn't respond right away. I didn't know how to explain that it hadn't just been one event or one day. It had been years of being the extra, the afterthought, the reliable one who never got invited but was always asked for help. "I'm not mad," I finally said. "I'm just done." He let that sit. Then he said, "I wish you weren't, but I get it." And that was the end of the call. Later that evening, Lily posted something on her Instagram story. A blurry photo of the backup party, complete with disposable plates, mismatched lawn chairs, and a caption that read, "Even when some people try to ruin the fun, real family sticks together." Real family. The irony was suffocating. I didn't engage. A few days later, the refund from the venue hit my account, $1,750. I donated it to a local community center in Tom's name. They were hosting a fundraiser to upgrade their kitchen. I added a note with the donation, to someone who deserves a real celebration. About a week passed with radio silence, but then I got a message from Sarah. It was longer than I expected and surprisingly honest. She wrote, "Hey, Ethan. I know you're probably still mad, and I don't blame you. I didn't know you weren't invited until you said something at the party. I just assumed you were coming. When you walked away, I realized how messed up it was. The family's been treating you like a backup plan for years. I think some of them know it too, but no one's ever said anything because you never pushed back. I guess this was your push. Just wanted to say I saw it, and I'm sorry." That message meant more to me than I thought it would, not because it fixed anything, but because it confirmed I wasn't crazy. Still, I didn't reply, not yet. I was still figuring out what done looked like for me. In the days that followed, more messages trickled in. My mom sent a long email about how families go through rough patches and that I shouldn't punish them by cutting contact. Lily, on the other hand, went full defensive, posting cryptic quotes like, "You find out who people really are when they don't get what they want." I chuckled at that one. If only she knew. Meanwhile, I started doing something new. For the first time in a long while, I began investing in the relationships that made me feel whole. I had friends outside the family, ones who didn't forget me or use me. I invited them over, hosted small dinners, took a trip with a coworker group to the coast. I smiled more, slept better. But the family wasn't done yet. One night, about 2 weeks after the barbecue incident, I was getting home from work when I saw a car I recognized parked outside my apartment. My mom's. And she wasn't alone. Lily was with her, both sitting in the front seat like they'd been rehearsing what to say. They hadn't called, hadn't texted, they just showed up. I stood at the curb, keys in hand, looking at them through the windshield. Lily stepped out first. "We need to talk," she said flatly. "You can't just ghost your family because of one mistake." I raised an eyebrow. "One mistake?" My mom climbed out next. "We didn't mean to hurt you, sweetheart, but canceling the park and ruining everything wasn't the answer. You made everyone uncomfortable." I crossed my arms. "Uncomfortable? That's rich. I've been uncomfortable at your events for years, but that wasn't a problem until I stopped funding them." Lily rolled her eyes. "This is getting ridiculous. Just admit you overreacted and come back to the group." I tilted my head, the corner of my mouth twitching into a dry smile. "That's when I said it. You want me back in the group? Then let's start with an apology. Not a fake one, a real one, in front of the whole family." Lily scoffed. "You're joking." "No," I said, "I'm finally serious." And for the first time in years, they didn't know what to say. My mom looked stricken, like she wasn't sure whether to scold me or cry. Lily, on the other hand, gave a tight laugh, more air than sound, and said, "You've really let this go to your head. You think the family owes you a public apology just because you got your feelings hurt?" I didn't answer right away. I just studied her. For years, Lily had been the queen bee of our family dynamic. The golden child, the loudest voice in the room, the most photos on the fridge at our parents' house. If there was a group outing, she picked the place. If there was a disagreement, she won it by default. I used to think she earned that place. Now I realized she simply took it, and the rest of us handed it to her to keep the peace. "It's not about hurt feelings," I finally said. "It's about respect, or the total lack of it. I was treated like furniture, useful when needed, but invisible the rest of the time. I'm done playing along. If you want me back in your lives, it has to start with you admitting what you've done." My mom tried to soften things. "You know how big families are. People forget things, say things. We all have flaws." I raised a brow. "Flaws? You stood there while Lily laughed at me at the party. You smiled while Aunt Clara showed me photos from an event I paid for but wasn't invited to. You've been silent for years, Mom. That's not a flaw, that's a choice." Her mouth opened, then closed. She didn't have a comeback for that. Lily folded her arms. "So what, you're just cutting us off?" You're not coming to Christmas, birthdays. You're going to make everything awkward for everyone. I looked her straight in the eye. You already did. And with that, I turned and walked toward my front door. I could hear my mom's voice behind me, tentative, weak. Ethan, please, don't do this. I paused with my hand on the door. Then fix it. Own it. Apologize. I stepped inside and closed the door gently, not slamming it. That made it worse for them, I think. I didn't make a scene. I didn't yell or curse. I was calm, final. That's what rattled them. That night, no one texted, no follow-up calls, just silence. For the first time, I think they genuinely didn't know what to do. The next few days were quiet, no new drama, just space and peace. Then a week later, I got a message from Uncle Tom again. It read, "Hey, I'm hosting a small dinner, just a few people. I wanted to invite you. No speeches, no drama, just dinner. No one else from your mom's side will be there unless you say yes first." I sat with that for a while. I didn't reply right away. I went to the gym, took a walk, ate dinner, and thought. Then I messaged back, "Only if it's at your place, and only if you promise not to mention the others." He replied, "Deal." That dinner turned out to be exactly what I needed. Tom, his neighbor Mark, an old friend from his workdays, and me. We grilled, watched a movie, and talked about everything but family. For the first time, I didn't feel like a placeholder, I felt like a person. I was beginning to realize something important. Family isn't blood. It's not who shares your last name or who remembers your birthday because it's written on a calendar. It's who shows up, who respects you, and who listens, even when it's hard. A few weeks later, I posted a photo on Instagram, just me and Tom toasting drinks on his back porch, captioned, "Sometimes your real family is the one that asks if you're okay, not just what you're bringing." Within hours, Lily liked the post, then unliked it, then liked it again. The next day, I got a text from her, no greeting, no explanation, just, "Fine, if that's what it takes, then let's talk. Hello. Thanks for watching and being part of this journey. If you enjoy story like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your support means the world. Now let's dive into the story. You want an apology? Meet me this Sunday. Everyone will be there. It was exactly what I'd said I wanted, but I learned something else too. Sometimes people don't apologize because they're sorry, they do it because they're scared of losing the grip on the person they used to control. I sat with my phone in my hand, debating. Did I show up to their table just to hear hollow words said through gritted teeth? Or did I let them live in the mess they made? Because for the first time in my life, I didn't need their approval. I wasn't the family doormat anymore. I was the one with power now. I stared at the text for a long while. Everyone will be there. That line lingered in my mind like bait laced with the faint smell of guilt and performance. I imagined Lily standing at the head of some table, arms folded, rehearsing a hollow speech crafted more to salvage her image than to acknowledge any real wrongdoing. My mother, clutching her purse tightly, blinking back tears she'd conjure on command. The family nodding along, not out of agreement, but out of exhaustion. I could already hear the phrases. "We're sorry you felt that way. Let's just move forward. Let's not make it bigger than it is." They didn't want reconciliation, they wanted containment. But I wasn't a problem to be managed anymore. Still, a part of me itched for closure. Not once, but I wanted to say the things I'd never said, not out of spite, but for clarity. To take my seat, not at their table, but at my own. So I replied, "I'll come, but if this is just for show, I'm walking out. I won't be polite this time." Lily replied with a single thumbs up emoji. Sunday arrived, and I showed up to the same family house I'd visited since I was a kid. It looked the same. White shutters slightly chipped, porch rail, flower pots no one really watered. But everything felt smaller now, like someone had turned down the volume on nostalgia. As I walked up the front steps, the door opened before I even knocked. My mother stood there in pearls and that fake smile she reserved for guests and awkward church potlucks. "Ethan," she said, her voice bright, "come in." I nodded and stepped inside. The air smelled like cinnamon and roast chicken, comforting, familiar. The living room was packed. Uncle Ben, Aunt Clara, Sarah, Lily, and even my younger cousin Noah, all seated, stiff, and overly composed. No one said anything at first. They just looked at me like I was the elephant in the room that had finally decided to speak. Lily stood up. "Thanks for coming," she said, like she was the host of a local news segment. "We wanted to talk about everything." I didn't sit, stayed near the entrance, arms crossed. "Go on." She glanced at the others, as if prompting them to say something, but they all stayed quiet, so she continued. "We know you felt left out. We've talked about it, and maybe we didn't realize how much you were doing for the family. It wasn't intentional, but things slipped through the cracks. A non-apology if I'd ever heard one. So this is your big gesture," I said, "acknowledging my existence now that I've stopped funding your parties." Sarah winced. My mother cleared her throat. "That's not fair, Ethan." "No." I tilted my head, because I paid for Tom's party, paid for the barbecue venue, helped with groceries after Dad's knee surgery, fixed Noah's computer, rewired Clara's lights. "Should I keep going?" Lily looked irritated. "Okay, we get it. You're the family handyman/ATM. Do you want a medal or something?" There it was, the real Lily. "No," I said calmly, "I just wanted the same basic respect you give each other, the same seat at the table. But I guess that's only reserved for the core family." Uncle Ben finally spoke. "We didn't mean it that way." "Then what did you mean?" I asked. "When you hosted a barbecue and didn't invite me, even though I booked the venue. When you all posed for photos and smiled like nothing was wrong. When no one even thought to check in after I quietly stopped showing up." They had no answer, just the sound of a clock ticking and someone shifting awkwardly in their chair. "You all had years to say something, and you didn't. I gave, and you took, and when I pulled away, you treated me like the problem, like I was overreacting, like I had to earn my place in this family." I looked around the room. But I finally figured something out. I never had a place. I was a utility, a convenience. And now that I've stopped being that, you want me back so you can keep using me. You want a band-aid, not a conversation. Lily scoffed. "Oh my God, you're being so dramatic." "Then this is the last time," I said, "the last time you get to call me that, the last time you reduce my boundaries to drama. I'm done, and I meant it." I turned to leave. "Ethan, wait," my mother stood up. "Don't do this." I stopped at the door but didn't turn around. "You always said we were family," she said, "that we stick together." I looked back at her, my voice quiet but firm. Sticking together isn't the same as sticking around when you're not wanted. I spent years holding this family together with tape and favors. When I stopped, you didn't ask if I was okay, you just got mad that I wasn't useful anymore. Lily rolled her eyes. "So what, you're just cutting everyone off?" "No," I said, opening the door, "I'm just finally choosing myself." And I walked out. The air hit different outside, crisp, freeing. I didn't feel like the bad guy, I didn't feel guilty, I felt clean. That night, I deleted the family group chat, blocked Lily, muted my mom's messages. I didn't do it out of spite. I did it for peace. Over the next few weeks, the silence continued. Sarah messaged me again, this time more direct. "I don't blame you, I'd probably do the same. Just know not everyone in the room agreed with how you were treated. If you ever want to talk, I'm here." I thanked her but didn't say much more. I wasn't ready to open that door again. Instead, I started building something new. A better circle, friends who checked in without needing anything, coworkers who invited me because they liked my presence, not my bank account. I even started dating again, something I'd avoided for years because I'd been so drained by my family drama. The old wounds still ached sometimes, holidays were especially hard. But they hurt less when I reminded myself that walking away wasn't selfish, it was necessary. About 6 months later, I heard through a mutual friend that Lily had thrown a party for her daughter's birthday, and half the family didn't show. Apparently, the absence of the guy who always made things run smoothly was being felt more than they expected. I smiled when I heard that, because sometimes the best revenge is just removing yourself. No screaming, no chaos, just quiet, firm absence. I never got the apology I deserved, but I got something better.